Hi, my name is Raegan. For my first book critique, I decided to feature the book Mufara's Beautiful Daughters. This story was written and illustrated by John Steptoe. It is an African folktale that has been compared to Cinderella, and after reading the story, I agree that it does have some similarities with Cinderella. It takes place in Africa and focuses on two sisters with very different personalities. When news comes that the king is going to choose a queen, both daughters set out to reach the kingdom. They are tested along the way, and they come into contact with a garden snake, who reveals what it knows about the daughters. In the end, the kinder, more compassionate sister is chosen. I thought the illustrations in the story were beautiful, and they were on every page. I think that would keep students more engaged because they could actually see what is happening in the story. I also liked the message of the story. I decided to do a social studies and science lesson. For the social studies lesson, I would have the students analyze the text and illustrations and have them discuss where the story takes place. After finding that it takes place in Africa, I would have the students discuss what they think Africa is like today compared to where we live. Next, I would have the students create a canvas poster including at least 4 facts and 2 pictures of Africa. I have included a link to an example of a canvas poster that I have created. For the science lesson, I decided to have the students think about the garden snake we read about. The king disguised himself as a garden snake when each daughter came into contact with him. I want the students to discuss why they think the author chose to have the king disguised as a garden snake. So, the students will create a biteable video containing facts about garden snakes that might relate to the king's personality and the storyline. I have included a link to a biteable that I created and I could expect the students to also create. The other 4 books that I read for this set are Lon Popo, Where the Wild Things Are, The Lion and the Mouse, and The House in the Night. Lon Popo is a Chinese version of Red Riding Hood. It is a picture book written by Ed Young. At first, the illustrations used a lot of dark colors, but as the story progressed, they got lighter. I thought that was a good way to add another effect to the story. The story is about 3 children who are tricked into thinking that a wolf is their grandmother, and tells how they escape once they realize that the wolf is not their grandmother. I liked the story, but I thought it was kind of dark. The third book I read was Where the Wild Things Are, which is a picture book written by Maurice Sendak. This is one of my favorite stories, and I love the illustrations. They do a great job of explaining the story when there aren't any words. The story follows a boy named Max who wants to be wild and carefree. He gets in trouble and is sent to bed without supper one night. So he decides to journey to where the wild things are, and he ends up becoming their king. He soon grows tired of his new life and misses the person who loves him the most. He could smell good things to eat all the way across the world. I think that this is a good discussion book because there are a lot of aspects of the story that students can relate to and question. The fourth book I read was The Lion and the Mouse. There are not a lot of words in this story, but the pictures do a great job of telling it. The story is one of unlikely friends who end up helping each other when they need it the most. It sends the message that you should help those in need because you never know when you'll need it in return. It could also create discussions about different types of animals and how they interact with each other in real life. The last book I read was The House in the Night, written by Susan Marie Swanson. The illustrations really emphasize the importance of light in the story. I think it would be a good bedtime story for children because it names comforting and intriguing nighttime things. It talks about the light in the sun and the moon, and I think that could be incorporated into a science lesson. That's all for my first book critique. Thanks for watching.